Let me start by saying this, okay? In 5.5 years of sports media, I've done a couple different podcasts and talk shows, aside from being a play-by-play broadcaster. I've had games that I've looked forward to, like a lot. On the commentary side of it, the podcasting, the talk show, the whatever, I've never had a show that I've looked forward to more than this one. Because,
Love to
and
hear
you know why.
that.
Y'all are about to find out.
Man.
Welcome to Alabama Primetime Live, the biggest brand on the best network for all of your college football news and coverage. Brady Manny back with you. All right, let's get right into it.
Yeah, I
Bama,
can tell you're already excited.
Bama.
Yeah,
Hey,
you've been thinking about this
first
since.
rounders. They had a good week.
Oh, Bama, yeah. We definitely had it. We had a couple of first round guys. That's always super helpful. So, you'd love to see that. So, hey, all right, I'm not gonna make you wait any longer. I know you're starving over here, but we'll save the best for last.
Yeah, let's say start with our guys and where they actually. I will. I did.
Yeah, I can pull it up. I actually got him up.
Okay.
But yeah, we had a good. I don't know if you can hear me. My connection is a little back and forth,
you.
but
You're loud and clear.
Okay, all right, cool. Yeah, so we had a couple of guys get drafted from Bama. Not every single person. I think it was about all but 3 or 4 guys. Tyler Booker and Jahai Campbell. Uh-oh. Okay.
Something like that.
All right. As long as we're good, we're good.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So yeah, first rounders, our first round guys, Jahai Campbell went to the Philadelphia Eagles at number 31. And then Tyler Booker was the first guy picked from Alabama, went to the Dallas Cowboys at pick number 12. Let's just start with the first round guys, if anything. First round guys, just to get started. What do you think about our first rounders and the teams that they landed on?
I feel bad for Tyler Booker, but but hey, he's what they need. They need to protect Dak. The Zach Martin retirement really hurt. So
yeah,
that's a smart pick. Best lineman available at that point in the draft. And they needed a guard. That pick gets an A+. I just feel bad for Tyler Booker because
that is very sad.
Campbell, I really like that spot. I don't remember if I said Philly is a possible destination for him. I know I definitely didn't say Dallas for Booker.
No, I didn't either.
But one of the better defenses in the NFL just gets stronger, right? It's just more young talent that they're adding, and it's a smart pick for a position you can constantly use upgrades at, and being the front seven. With that pick and really all 32 teams, I haven't found one team where I point at them and say they had a bad draft.
Yeah, it's kind of difficult to say that about all the teams, especially when guys went defense like they did in this draft. I think it was a really good time to do that in this draft. It was like I didn't really see any bad decisions or any wrong pickups in this situation here.
I mean, we've had years past where like, what are they doing? And then we've had other like the Cardinals last year, where it's like they had the best draft. Trying to get 2 and 3. We didn't really have. I mean, nobody expected. I guess there were rumors of the Jags potentially trying to do something. We didn't know what that something was up until 8:20 Eastern. I was in Missouri during the draft, so 7:20 for me at that point. But I saw it, watched it. I was like, this makes perfect sense. But I'm happy with that first round for our guys. And then Jalen, I feel like you could not have drawn up. Maybe I didn't want him to go on day 3. I wanted him to go on day 2. I know I said the Giants, but I feel like best case scenario was going to be Seattle. Didn't think he was going to go there. But out of all the teams that needed quarterback help, okay, Seattle's one of them. Long-term answer's really not there, I don't think. They did get someone. I'm blanking.
Yeah. They I think first round they went offensive lineman, and then I gotta go back to double back and be 100% sure. But and back in the second round, that's when they went safety. They picked up the safety from North Carolina, scooped him up, and then obviously Milroe was the one to go in the third round. The Milroe pickup did kind of shock me. I knew he was gonna go maybe like early second or third.
Oh, yeah, they did. That was Darnold. Darnold went to Seattle. That's right.
Yeah, during free agency. Yep, he's there. He's there.
I was like, somebody. Agency. I know somebody went there, and I couldn't think of it. It was Darnold. Okay.
Yep. Sorry. So he's there, and he'll most likely be a starter there, and it'll be a good situation for Milroe to learn from. However, I was very shocked, and you called this earlier last week when we talked about it. You were saying Milroe possibly to the Saints. And I actually like that one. And not only because I hope the Saints would somehow get a quarterback who takes time to develop and just be bad for a few years, me being a Falcons fan, but also mainly because I genuinely think he could have been a huge help for the New Orleans Saints, just bringing in a dual threat quarterback like Milroe, giving him a couple years to learn, and then obviously giving him some experience to learn too, with Derek Carr being so up and down. So I was shocked that the Saints didn't go Milroe in that second round. Instead, they picked the quarterback from Louisville, Tyler Snow. So it was a little weird to me, but ultimately I think Milroe ended up in the right place with Seattle for sure.
Yeah. Well, Schaff, whatever, is 25, right? I mean, he was Justin Herbert's backup.
Yeah, he's been around for a long time.
Put that in perspective. Okay. So I think they know he's experienced, smart. He's a smart quarterback. And I think that's what the Saints need is they need an elder, experienced, reliable backup. And instead of going to free agency and overpaying, maybe, they went to the draft and got Schaff, who might take a little less money because he wasn't supposed to go that high, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
But
it's a unique situation. I just thought pound for pound. I mean, it was just a little weird. And then too, he is older, he has the experience, but also I'm like, okay, now you're a rookie and he's age 25, 26 years old. Like it's a little much for me. I mean, the league gave Michael Penix
problem with Cam Ward. Right? Ward. Yeah. Like, is he really going to go number one? And I'm going to say, yeah. Well, he's 23, 24.
I know. And I'm like, okay.
How old he is.
Yeah.
If you can get 15 years, that's still, and 12 of those are good.
Yeah, so, then that's all that matters.
36, 37, 38, he starts to fall off. That's almost expected. What's wrong with 12 solid years?
Yeah. I mean, true. And then that position too is like the duration of guys being able to play that position is just extending further and further and further and further. So it's like he definitely has some time to play. It's just
absolutely
it was a weird move for the Saints for me. But anyway, back to our Bama guys. Obviously, so the three we've covered: Tyler Booker, Jahad Campbell, Jalen Milroe, Malachi Moore. He went to the New York Jets. He was drafted there. And actually, there was a cool little story about it. Aaron Glenn, the head coach of the New York Jets, he did have something to say about what really made him go with Malachi Moore here. So I'll just pull it up here. So the main thing, he ended up saying a quote. Of course, if this actually pops up, then we can see it. But, all right, Jets head coach Aaron Glenn says his talk with former Alabama defensive back coach or Alabama defensive back Brian Branch was one of the reasons that they drafted Malachi Moore. Now, Aaron Glenn, for those of you who don't know, he did coach Brian Branch with the Detroit Lions. Obviously, close relationship with Aaron Glenn being a defensive coordinator. But he said Malachi Moore was a guy I talked to Brian Branch right before the draft. And he gave me some really good insight on that player, Moore being a captain. That tells me what he is. he's going to come in and have a chance to compete for a safety spot. You love to hear this about Malachi Moore, man. Obviously had a great season and just already getting some good feed from those who are in the league, putting him in a good light. I think this is dope for them. And ultimately, he's in a good situation with the Jets too, who are kind of, in my opinion, got a little better because they got rid of some of the toxicity that's over there.
It's the Bama connection, right? We're already seeing it. Brian and Malachi were similar, similar styles of play. Both ball hawks, really underrated, I think, in man coverage. So I found it positive when I read something like that, and Brian speaking highly of Malachi, and I think Malachi is going to be a really good defensive back in this league.
Yeah,
I think he's going to get better at defending a big play, and he's going to get a little bit better than man coverage, but his zone coverage is outstanding. He is a ball hawk. When he comes up in blitz, he's so quick. He'll be fine, right? I don't worry about Malachi at all, but a couple things to work on. That just comes with getting reps.
Yeah. And so I think a big thing here that's probably going to be helpful for him with going to the Jets is he'll get to play under guys who have good experience, like Sauce Gardner. Obviously, has made his name in the league and proved how dominant he can be at cornerback. So just being able to learn from the guys who's already there on that defense is going to be huge. Now, Jets, I think competitiveness wise, they're not in a bad situation. I mean, they're looking like everything on the roster is still pretty much the same. The only difference is they have a new quarterback and new head coach. Yeah, so I don't think this is a bad thing at all. But definitely Malachi Moore is going to be able to get in and learn from some of the guys that's already there. So I think this is a good situation from him being able to go to a good team and maybe even being able to compete already and earn a starting spot. I mean, that would be huge.
It's not. I wouldn't rule it out of possibility.
Yeah,
I really wouldn't. But
yeah,
Aaron Glenn Aaron Glenn is a very good at what he does. It's a tough cookie.
Yeah,
but I think Malachi will
defensive-minded.
do well. He'll do well under him, I think.
Yeah, defensive-minded guy for sure. So there was a couple other guys that did get drafted from Alabama. So Q Robinson, he went to the Denver Broncos in the 4th round. You had Robbie Oots, tight end, went to the Seattle Seahawks to go play with his old quarterback, Jalen Milroe. That's the duo that we didn't really put together right away.
Wow.
And then Tim Smith, 6th round, Indianapolis Colts. I kind of want to bring back light to that duo, Robbie Oots and Jalen Milroe. Do you think that's going to evolve to be something special?
Well, it'd be great if it did. Chances of it happening, low. Just keeping it a buck. Would I like to see it happen? Yes. But I'm just thinking realistically, we know Darnold is going to be QB1 there. Is Oots going to play a lot? We don't know. He may serve as a blocking tight end for the first year or two.
This is true.
He may be that third option, not only playing on goal line sets, bunch formations, tush push if they ever decide to adopt that. I don't know.
Oh, man, that would be crazy.
Certain things like that. So I, again, just like with anyone else, I want to see Robbie do well. And I think Seattle, I mean, they've got Noah Fant. They use the tight end well.
Tight end, yeah.
Darnold,
he's an animal.
Hawkinson was one of his top, I think his top or second leading receiver a season ago.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't worry about that at all.
Yeah, so that'll be interesting. I think they're very young right now. Obviously, they just got drafted. Guys still got to make the roster and all of that stuff. So it's wishful thinking as of right now. Like, okay, cool, this is what happened. that both of them are there. But ultimately, only time will tell if the two are going to actually evolve to be something special. Hopefully we see Milroe develop. Hopefully we see Oots develop as well. And I think that will be the biggest reason for it. However, it's time. It's time, Brady. So it's time. The moment you've been waiting for is here. So I think we should go take our quick break.
Yeah.
Maybe get ourselves together. I'm going to brace myself for this because I know you've been waiting. So we cover our Alabama guys. Now it's, everybody in the draft. Now it's time to just cover some surprises that happened in the draft. So we'll take our quick break. And then after our break, we'll come back. We'll explain some things that happened. We'll say what surprised us, what we called, what we didn't expect to happen, what we expected to happen. So we'll take our break, and then we'll bounce right back with the NFL draft.
You can make a difference here at the Voice of College. You can make a difference here at the Voice of College Football. Use the Amazon link. Financially contribute to the Voice of College Football without spending a penny. Same shopping experience. It's easy. Go to any video on any channel. Go to the description section and grab the link right next to the capital letters that say Amazon. Use that link, and Amazon will instantaneously convert to your account, settings, history, everything intact, just like whatever link you use right now. No difference. Pay no attention to the product that you see right there. Just go search what you want. Don't forget the Amazon link. Thank you for your support. Sincerely, the Voice of College Football.
All right, so let's do it. The moment you've been waiting for, Brady.
Okay.
What caught your attention in the draft?
Oh, what caught my attention? Well, let me just say.
Or wherever you wanted to start. I know you've been waiting for this since the draft happened.
No, I'm happy that the world, and I put this on my Instagram story the other day. If you don't follow me on Instagram, the handle is right below my name. It's fun over there. Somebody, an anonymous general manager, just said, I will sum up this big, long quote. The main takeaway was, he's just not that good. And I put that on my story, and I said, y'all are finally realizing what I've been saying for 2 years.
Who's not that
Shador
good, right?
Sanders rightfully got what he had coming for him. Listen to me. I understand, okay? And somebody's going to gun up here and say, you had him going number 2. You're 100% right. I did. I had him going number 2 for the wrong reasons. I had him going number 2 to Cleveland because that's a Cleveland Browns thing to do. Take the person with the most off-the-field distractions possible, put him in the spotlight, have him have, 6 good weeks, and then flunk. Quicker than me in a calc class, okay? Here is my problem. I'm not going to point out certain individuals or networks or whatever. There was one individual on one network who I have respected as an analyst, as a draft analyst, all these years up until 2025. And we all know who I'm talking about.
Who is it? Let's hear it.
You cannot. I'm not going to name drop, but you can't possibly sit there and basically say that the NFL. He said the NFL has been evaluating quarterbacks wrongly for 50 years. That is the most outrageous piece of garbage I've ever heard. If that was the case, why are you not working in an NFL front office? Here's what's the problem. We're all guilty of like defending ourselves when we get things wrong. That's just taking it to another level, right? When you go 13-12 in 2 years of playing college football in the worst power conference of the 4, okay? you're not going to be looked at highly. Additionally, when a rumor then comes out that you're messing up interviews on purpose, I don't know if you heard this, but apparently he went into that Giants interview and sucked on purpose so they wouldn't draft him. There's other reports coming out saying he wasn't even on our board, because here's the problem. It's what I pointed out to last week. I'm going to use this as an example. Lonzo Ball. You remember when Lonzo Ball was going through the draft process? And
it was insane.
Teams were very, very, very hesitant to take him. As good of a basketball player as he is, that I'm not going to discredit. Lonzo and LiAngelo is doing he's swerving and bending corners, and I don't know what he's doing. But Lonzo and LaMelo are both equally as talented basketball players. LaMelo a little bit better, but they're both very talented basketball players. Okay, you get the point. Particularly Lonzo, much less LaMelo. But when Lonzo was going through that draft process, it was the big three. It was Fultz, LaMelo, and Tatum. Tatum, obviously, Philly, of course, infamously traded up, drafted Fultz. We all know how that went. It wasn't Lonzo Ball in the spotlight. It was LeVar. LeVar running his mouth, saying he would beat Michael Jordan one-on-one, and basically making his son to be the greatest basketball player in the country at that point. Didn't really work. And even at that time, UCLA was not good. They weren't good. Lonzo himself was fine. UCLA wasn't good. So it's the same sort of dynamic of teams saying, he's not even on our board because of all the distractions. Lakers got to choose him at 2. It's like, well, that figures, right? The team that's known for making, in the past, they would make smart decisions. Same thing with the Browns. Like, it just doesn't. There's another video came out. Shador and Cam privately throw it. I can't make this up.
I do. I know exactly where you're going with this one.
Shador turns to Cam Ward. He says something, I'm paraphrasing. We should make a song together. Cam Ward looks at him like he's got 10 heads. And he says, nah, man, I'm here to play football. I'm like, yes. That's why you went number 1. Because you're here to play football. You're not here to flex a watch. Why are you wearing a watch in the middle of the game to begin with? Can we ask that question first? Who puts on a football uniform? Let me put
Brady,
$25,000.
I'm gonna simplify this all. I know he's he has some character issues. I'm aware of that. I'm aware he's a potential asshole, potential very entitled kid.
He's so look.
So above all of that, watching the draft, I expected him to fall back to the second round. I was like, okay, I wouldn't be surprised if he fell to the second round, like looking at the teams and stuff. But one thing I did not expect, I didn't expect guys like Tyler Show to get drafted before. Dylan Gabriel. Come on, man. This is where I was like, all right, now I got to raise an eyebrow. Like, I'm all for him getting put in the second round, and whatever happens. I'm all for that. But come on, man. It started to become too many other quarterbacks where I'm like, all right, Jackson Dart, okay, all right. I understand the argument. Like
most, I shouldn't say a lot of, but most had him as the second. I'm Orlovsky.
Yeah, and I'm like, I'm cool with that.
Elevated over Jackson Dart.
I'm like, all right, cool. Like, I understand that. I can accept him. But then you start getting to the Dylan Gabriel, Milroe. I'm like, all right, come on, man. What are we doing at this? That's when I'm like, I don't think it was anything crazy. I think it was that he was bad at his interviews. And it was just a case of a lot of other things of like questionable things, like this guy's a potential risk to the organization. He wants to change this. He wants to change the coach and all of that stuff.
That's what it is, though, is because who he is. What people don't understand, I'm no expert, right?
Yeah.
Excuse me. But one thing I do know is that the on the field matters just as much, if not perhaps a little less.
This is true.
Than the off the field. They can fix the on the field stuff. That's why we have coaches.
This is true.
Off the field, I can't teach work ethic. I can't teach how you present yourself to others, whatever word you want to use for that. Public profile, maybe.
Or just like how you're treating people.
I can't
just how you're treating people.
I can't teach image, right? I know it kind of ties back to the public profile. I can teach you to break habits if you'll listen. I can't teach you to listen. So when you factor in all the things, and then Dion might have been the one that started this spiral. Saying,
potentially,
we're gonna pick who you're not a free agent, dude. Your dad's not your agent. What world are you seriously? What fantasy reality are you living in? All this was with karma coming right back at Shedeur and Dion and saying, you want to spend $6.5 million on a draft setup. You want to pick and choose where you play before you're even in the league. You want to have your number retired for going 13-12, beating one top 25 opponent. I hate allergies.
I understand, man. I got it back.
This is what you get. Now, I want him to do. I don't wish bad careers upon anybody. I want to make that very clear. I hope the kid proves people wrong, and I hope the kid does well, right? Because you can be good. You can. Michael Jordan's kid played basketball, but he wasn't good. Shedeur is a good quarterback. He's got his pros and he's got his cons, no doubt about it. But then the other, like it also seemed like with MSM at mainstream media and other people, they're just trying to find different excuses. All these different excuses.
I'm not really one.
We don't know. It's a scam. They want to see Shedeur do bad. No.
Yeah,
it's
not. See, I don't.
These people really think, honest to God, do these people really think that these general managers, assistant general managers, presidents of football operations, directors and assistant directors of player and pro personnel, all the scouts that these people employ, analytics directors, the people in marketing, for God's sakes, do you really think they sit there and they say, folks, we're not going to draft Shedeur because we want him to suck? No.
Yeah, I've seen things where
you need to stop watching football.
Yeah, and I've seen things where there was different analysts saying owners were telling front offices, no, they don't want to pick them and stuff. Obviously, we don't know what's 100% true and what's 100% not. But at the end of the day, I just look at it like, the draft, the order of the draft genuinely doesn't mean that much. Like as much emphasis as we give credit to, like, literally the list goes on and on and on about so many different guys who were drafted 5th round, 6th round, 7th round, undrafted. Like, it's so many players that's been given a disrespectful number or weren't given a number at all, and yet they still ended up being an NFL great. So it's just like, I really feel like this is just one of those things where it's just blown out of proportion. Obviously, Shedeur is a huge name right now, coming from his dad, Deion Sanders. So everything's gonna just be in like heightened even more. in terms of hype. So it's like he's not the first player to act this way. He's not the first player to come in and be, if you want, extremely arrogant or just in a way you could argue an asshole or whatever the case is. Like, he's not the first player to do that. I mean, there was Baker Mayfield, there was Johnny Manziel, there was Cam Newton. There was a lot of different players who came in and were doing childish things, dumb things, like just weird things, and just like, he's not the first to have these sort of traits. So that's where I look at it like, okay, it doesn't make sense to me where it's like, all right, the NFL is going to be like, all right, well, no, out of this dude, we got to make an example. I think it was just genuinely a draft for defensive pieces. A lot of teams probably knew they could probably pick Shedeur up later on in the round. And if for the Browns, I think it was genius. Okay, you get who you want to get the first few rounds, and shit, Shedeur's still there in the 5th round. Let's get him. Because at one point, even me being a Falcons fan, I'm like, all right, now, if Shedeur is here in the 6th round, look, we have a quarterback, but if he's still there in the 6th round, let's just be smart. Like, he's still a good quarterback. He knows how to throw the ball and stuff. Like, he doesn't have to be the starter, but let's just get him and sit him behind Michael Penix, if anything. So after a while, I'm like, all right, this is where he should go. But you want to draft all of the guys and the pieces that you absolutely need first before you get any other position. Like, I feel like that's genuinely what happened to him. Him falling all the way to 5th round was a little crazy. Yeah, I get it. And guys probably needed him, but when it came to picking quarterbacks, people probably was just a little nervous. I mean, I'm sure there were maybe some owners who were like, no, we don't want that attention. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's like, whether he was drafted 3rd, whether he was drafted 5th round, it don't matter. Either way, we're not going to know how it pans out to be until he steps in the league and start throwing some passes.
What the Browns did was they obviously passed on him like 5 times. But they took him.
Literally.
This is why they took him. Finances, business, marketing. But he could play. Yes, the distractions are there, but at the end of the day, he's not a bad football player. I want to keep hitting that home. I'm not saying he's a bad football player. I'm not saying he's a bad football player. I'm not saying he's a bad football player. Low risk. Literally. Like, late round pick. You're going to dish him $1 million a year. Not guaranteed. So the minute he does something stupid,
don't even matter. Yeah, you didn't even risk a 1st round pick or a 3rd round. Like,
learning. It's Jimmy Haslam. Now, did you see the video of the Browns war room when they drafted Shedeur?
Yeah, they looked very enthused.
Kevin Stefanski, Andrew Berry, it's Jimmy Haslam. You draft Shedeur or you don't have a job in the morning. That's what I think happened. Why are you doing this? After you just drafted arguably the biggest name in the sport over the last 3 weeks. You don't do that.
Yeah,
you don't do that.
Yeah.
It's the 6th round we got. They didn't do that. They wanted to be anywhere but there at that point in time. That's just a theory,
man.
Now, and again, I don't hate what Ulrich's kid did, Jeff Ulrich.
Ulrich, that was crazy.
Right?
Yeah, that was crazy. The prank call.
Yeah, I mean, that's not okay.
Yeah.
So again, you in that moment, make sure we have full context of this quote, right? I feel bad for Shedeur. In that moment, I felt bad.
Yeah.
When reading that, watching it, felt bad for him.
Valid.
Excuse me. That's about it. I mean, that's the only thing I feel bad for him. But
well, it'll be interesting, man. Literally the only thing now that's gonna prove us if it was a good choice or bad choice is just the test of time. So we'll have to see in this upcoming season.
Yeah. Which I'll ask you this final question. if you're Kevin Stefanski, who's your starting quarterback?
I think Shador is starting by week 7.
Shador.
Yeah, I think he's starting by week 7.
So who's your week 1 starter?
Week 1 starter. They probably try to go the route of the guy who was finishing out the season last year. They probably try and give him a shot, but I think at the latest, it's gonna be week 7 for Shador to get to start because
right now. Again, I'm sorry. Go. What are you gonna say?
Oh, I was just gonna say, yeah, I give it to week 7 for Shador, because right now Joe Flacco is there, Kenny Pickett, Dylan Gabriel, Shador. Like, come on, man. Like their quarterback room is still a joke. It's still a joke. And I think, obviously we got to see what happens in training camp and all of that stuff. But I would say at the latest week 7, Shador is going to be starting. Kenny Pickett, I don't have much faith in him. Dylan Gabriel, I don't have much faith in him. But we'll see, man. They do have a quarterback duel on their hand. So there'll be a couple of guys battling it out to be a starting quarterback. But once the Browns lose the first 3 games or so, they'll be looking to change it up. And Shador is going to be right there. I think Browns fans are going to be crazy and eventually start calling for Shador as well. The same way they were doing with Jameis Winston when Deshaun Watson was playing awful. They were calling for Jameis Winston to get in the game. And when it finally happened, what happened? Jameis started throwing touchdowns. They were able to score. He threw a lot of interceptions, but damn it, they were at least able to put some points on the board.
So,
yeah.
Zappy started week 18. Thompson Robinson came in and finished the game. So right now, it's those 2. Flacco, Gabriel, Pickett, Shador. I mean, I would go with Pickett, but I would do one of 2 things. Kenny's a starter until we say otherwise. Kenny starts week 1. Shador starts week 2. Joe starts week 3. Whoever performs the best starts week 4. I know it's this continued. I know it's this continued carousel with Browns, and Browns fans are unbelievably sick of it, and I do understand as a Raider fan. I get it. Which my childhood hero, Ashton Genty, is a Las Vegas Raider. I was so happy on Thursday, but that's neither here nor there. You can do it 2 different ways. There is no right answer. There is no wrong answer, because you're the Cleveland Browns. You're bad now. You were bad before. You'll probably always be bad. What do you have to lose? It's the first 3 weeks of a season in which you're not expected to do anything. So
yeah,
I lean in the direction of starting with Pickett and until having Shador be number 2, right? Kenny, Shador, Joe, I think probably makes the most sense. But if there is all right, we're down 14 with 3 minutes left. Shador, go in for a drive. See what happens. Does well, wins the game. I want to go back to Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett doesn't do well the next game. We're going to start Shador and just see how it goes. Right? The worst thing to do, like I've always said, worst thing to do is rush. It's the first thing to do. The worst thing to do in any sport is rush the potential of your star player or someone with the capability to be your star player. Shador has the capability. Can he just wrangle in and control the people and the things that get here and translate it to success on the field? I think he can do it. Can Shador think he can do it? That's the question.
Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting to see, man. We'll definitely have to address this as the season continues on. But we've already held everybody longer than what we usually do, so we'll have to bring it back up in conversation. But you can definitely count on us being here next week, Tuesdays, here all the time, same time, every Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. Right. But yeah, Manny, Brady, we will see you next Tuesday.